Okay, so this is going to be a little bit of a different video today. I am going to be giving you a little bit of business sauce, telling you why you should be charging more for your services. I feel like this is a topic that not a lot of people go in depth on the internet, and I think that I am pretty good when it comes to charging a shit ton for services. So I wanted to be able to help you guys out for anyone who has a service-based business. So without further ado, let's just get right into it. So, why should we be charging more for your services? So, a lot of people don't charge a lot for their services because they're scared of those high price tags. They're scared to charge higher prices for their services. They get too scared and they don't want to scare away their current clients, or they think no new clients will take them up on their new prices. Okay. And I have this little picture of a dog here. Look how nervous the dog is. That's you. That's you being scared to charge for your high services. I couldn't find a picture of a nervous person, but I found this nervous dog, a nervous bitch. To be frank, that's what you are when you don't charge high prices for your services. And I want to make things very clear to you. So, whatever you're charging right now for your product or service, it's probably not enough. As a matter of fact, you should double your price right now. You could even triple it if you really wanted to. So, a universal mistake is just blatantly undercharging. The truth is that if you're that good at what you do, you should be increasing your prices on a regular basis, especially with the way inflation is now. If you're not charging more, you're losing money every year. Really think about that. When you work a regular job and you get a raise, like a 1% to 2% raise, you're losing money every year because inflation is like 3-5%. Obviously, with everything that's been going on, I think it's a whole lot higher than that. I think it's like 10-12%. But if you're not consistently raising your services or the price of your services on a regular basis, you are losing money. And we don't want that. And here are some dangers of underpricing. So the biggest mistake I see is that when most new business owners, they like to charge less than the market and competitor average in order to attract clients. So what I see is like someone who has a new service-based business, they'll go on Google and see what competitors or other businesses in their area are charging, and they will price themselves a little bit under that to attract clients. And while that may work when you're just starting out in the very beginning, this is a god-awful long-term strategy if you have any desire to scale. At some point, someone's going to undercut your prices, and then you'll undercut them. Now, all of a sudden, it's a race to the bottom, so you can charge the least. So say when you first start your business, you see that people are charging, I don't know, like $2,000 for video editing services. And you say, all right, I'm going to price mine to like $1,800. And then you start getting a couple clients, and then other businesses are seeing what you're doing. And you're like, you know what, I'm going to price mine at $1,500. And then they start taking your clients because now they're cheaper. And then you start undercutting them and go to $1,200, and then they go to $800. Now it's just this big race to the bottom. And now none of you are making any money. You see this picture right here, this downward spiral? That is what happens to most people. And then they wonder why they're not making any money. It's like, oh, I feel like I'm getting better, but I'm not making any money. I'm starting to get clients. It's like, yeah, because you're basically paying money at this point to do work instead of getting paid. And being the cheapest option, it's just not sustainable, right? It's not a good business model to have. Unless you're someone like Walmart or Southwest Airlines, where you purposely price yourself lower than everyone else and operate at a loss for years, you should be charging more. And let's be completely honest, you probably don't have a business model like Walmart or Southwest Airlines, so you shouldn't operate like them. I understand wanting to get clients, but charging the least and being the cheapest option is not the way to go. Those businesses are able to do that because they just operate off of sheer volume. Southwest Airlines, they're the cheapest airline, but the amount of tickets they sell compared to everyone else is just so much more, which is why they're able to charge those low ticket amounts, because they sell so many, which makes up for the low price. You are probably not doing that because there is not enough time of the day for you to cater to so many clients, especially when you're a service-based business where you're exchanging that time for money. You need to charge more as you improve, right? Once you've shown competence and a very clear ROI on your service for a couple customers, you should increase your prices every time you do it and continue to do so as you get better. So yes, obviously when you start, you can't be charging ridiculous amounts because you're not good. You're just starting out. But as you start to take on these clients for very cheap or even free sometimes, and you are actually providing a clear ROI, you're actually doing good work, they actually are benefiting from the service that you're providing, then you have the confidence, you have the testimonials to be able to slowly increase your prices. And then once you do that again at that price point, then you increase to the next price point and the next price point. You see what I'm getting at? And that is how you should ideally be running that service-based business. Obviously, don't charge a lot if you suck. That's never going to work. So I want to give you a little story time. Basically, it's like, oh, well, Grant, why should I listen to you? Oh, well, I have a perfect example of how this worked. So when I first started out in entrepreneurship, I had a media agency, right? So I did video editing, I did videography and photos for different clients. And one of my specialties, one of my ICPs or ideal customer profiles were luxury hotels. I was very good at making travel videos, real estate videos, and that was something that I prided myself in. So when I first started out, I was planning to charge $300 to film a video for a luxury hotel as they were my first client, right? I was on a call with them going over what they were going to get with that price and what kind of value that I was going to provide for them. I was going to go through the walkthrough of the hotel, see what features they wanted to showcase, because the main point of the video was like, this was during COVID. They wanted to make a small social media video showing like, hey, we still have this luxury hotel. We're taking precautionary safety measures. We're safe. You should still be able to come and enjoy the hotel. And funnily enough, I didn't notice it at the time, but my mom was actually listening into the call. And when I finished, she said something that I just thought was crazy at the time. She was like, Grant, you're charging way too low of a price for what you're giving them. If I were you, I would charge $1,000 for the same video. I was like, what? What? We mean $1,000? Yeah, I was so hesitant, right? That was more than triple the price of the original quote that I gave them. And I didn't want to do it at first because I didn't want to scare away my first client, right? I just wanted to be able to make the good video, get the payment, have my first client in the books, and then go on to the next one, right? And then slowly work my way up, right? But after some convincing, after some back and forth with my mom, I gave in and I said, all right, I'll try it. I decided to send over the contract and invoice for $1,000 for the video that I was going to make them. And to my surprise, a couple hours later, my phone buzzed and I saw a notification from my payment processor that they paid the $1,000 in full. And at the time, I genuinely couldn't believe it. All my limiting beliefs about what I was worth and what I could charge were shattered from that day on. So from that point on, I started charging more for my services when my customers were seeing better and better results. So as I got better and as I saw that my videos were having a clear ROI and getting more engagement, more followers, it was converting more sales, more people were walking into the door to buy the product or service or stay at the hotel or whatever it was due to my video. I went from charging $1,000 to $2,000 and then $5,500 to like $5,500 a month retainers and then so on. All of a sudden I went from someone who was going to originally charge just $300 for a 30-second video. Now I was just charging crazy amounts. I was increasing my prices by $1,000 every month for the rest of that year. And then it just continued from there. And I just kept scaling as I got better and better and better. And as my clients were seeing more and more tangible results that I could use to justify why I was charging that much. So what I want you to take away from this is to not underestimate your value. Don't be scared to charge people what you're truly worth. If your prospects aren't in shock when you tell them the price, odds are you're not charging enough. Think of the highest number you can reasonably think of and try it out. You lose nothing by trying. And I know that can be scary, but like for me, I already had a 9-to-5 job. I already had multiple streams of income. So when I was with this agency business, for me, the money really didn't matter that much because I really wasn't worrying about my bills or like if I was going to be able to eat the next day. I had all that covered. So I was in a position where I was like, if I say a price and they get scared or tell me to fuck off, I'll be fine. So I was in a position where I was able to take on more risk and just say whatever numbers I wanted that I thought were right. And most of the time it worked out. A lot of people are scared to ask for things, but that saying, ask and you shall receive, is very powerful and not too many people take you up on it. It never hurts to ask. If they say no, fine, be respectful about it. but that's not to say that someone else won't take you up on that offer. So just keep trying, right? And also, just working with customers who have a higher budget, I can tell you it's so much easier, man. I'll be the first person to tell you that higher ticket customers are just much easier to deal with rather than low ticket customers. I'm sure you've seen that meme. It's like, uh, if you're charging $500 to a client, they're like, oh, well, what am I getting? I want to make sure that I'm getting the best bang for my buck. They have 15,000 revisions. They're never satisfied with the thing, as opposed to a $50,000 client. They're like, yeah, I just sent the wire transfer. You get it? Perfect. And dude, it's not a meme, bro. It's actual facts. Like, that's actually how it works out. I experience much less headaches, less problems. And on the bright side, I get more money in my pocket. That's not to say you'll never have problems when you're working with higher paying customers, but most of the time they're just easier to please, if that makes sense. And if you don't know what I'm talking about, try pitching prices to higher uh, ticket customers, and you'll see what I mean. The advantage of being premium. So I wanted to end with this. There is no advantage to being the second cheapest option in the marketplace, but there is an advantage to being the most expensive. Now, I hope you got some value out of this. Let me know if there's anything else you want to hear from me. And yeah, cheers to you charging more and making more money. Let me know how it works out.